Y'all not gonna watch Tiger Woods?
He might make you might not have to worry about it. He might not make it.
I laugh, but it's so sad to watch ESPN. It's so sad to watch.
I mean, what is that? What is there to say? I mean, for real, you don't even know he's gonna make the cut. You don't know if he can make it the first damn day walking. That's what I'm talking about. So I mean, I have no, and like I said, I've been a proponent of because I've seen him in person. He's a hell of a player when he was right. But now I'm just like, man, what the? I don't want to see that shit. I'm serious. I'm sitting there going like, and they just really don't know what to do because your boy done lost his mind. He taking money and shit, lefty's ass, lefty over there trying to get that money overseas with all that. Yeah. So his ass ain't playing either. You know, they've been down on him because he wanted to make that money overseas and how they go about giving the money for Saudi Arabia and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it reminds me of like them old boxers like Joe Louis, and they're way past their time, and they put them in a casino, just the tourism. That's what it reminds me of, man. It's sad that we get exploited like that, man.
Like I said though, Tiger can't sit his ass down. That's what the fuck that is. He need to. I was like, oh well, I'm doing really well, working with Charlie. Okay, that's cool, but I'm like, you went to Augusta. The fuck you doing down there? About, and when they heard, they said he was practicing. I was like, that motherfucker gonna play. Mm-hmm. I was like, you can't leave this shit alone. They just damn near cut your leg off. And you down there running around, trying to, oh, I'm feeling real good. I'm gonna let you guys know. I was like, I ain't listening to none of that shit.
I'm telling you, man, mentally, he's not in a good place, bro.
Dude, I'm telling you. I said about them drugs, I believe with all out, that motherfucker was addicted to shit. He was addicted.
I think he's still taking shit.
He's addicted to pain.
Man.
Yeah. Dude, oh yeah.
When they said he had that wreck on that, when you talk about when he veered off, talking about he fell asleep, that motherfucker was high, bro. He was high, bro.
It's going to be for him, when he doesn't win, make the cut or whatever. That's gonna be tough to go home to. For him, that's gonna be tough to go home to. And Tiger's not the strongest guy mentally. He just isn't, bro.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah.
So that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough.
You're always looking for applause. You're looking for that limelight for somebody.
Exactly.
You did great. So he can say, look what I did. And I'm like, dude, just find some other stuff to do.
Because if you think about it, it's been there since he's been, I remember he was on Johnny Carson as a little boy. It's been there since he's been a little boy. It's been there. That's all he knows.
But my thing is, just start an academy. Teach motherfucking golf.
I agree.
Give back to kids that normally couldn't play this game. Not these rich motherfuckers that you got paying all this money just to shake your hand and hold your golf clubs. Give back to, you want to do something, do the Steph Curry way. Go back to HBCUs and make a great #1 golf from HBCUs. Do that. Dude, that's
not gonna bring the applause and adulation.
Exactly. In HBCU, he's not black, bro.
He said he's not black. He's not going. I'd be surprised if he does that.
Yeah, he's not black.
Well, do it realistically. But do it in a charity fashion, then, because you feel sorry for poor people and write it off. But damn.
Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad. It is Black Thor, Icewater, and Puma. Got to congratulate Black Thor. He won the March Madness pool, and he's also the first to win and pick the champion. He picked Kansas, and so
something you guys never did.
So, Brother Raccoon, you got the floor.
I must say this, man. Ice, you've always been a great competitor, bro. I ain't gonna knock you down too much. You've been a great competitor. You made me work hard to get here. You did the past couple of years. So this hasn't been easy. It's been fun. And I was a little shaky at time with Kansas. I wasn't sure. I even told, Puma Pops at one point, I'm not sure about Kansas, man. You never know. And he was right. You never know. But they kind of surprised me. Even at halftime of this particular game, I wasn't sure at that point there. Sometimes at the tournament. But I got to give to Hubert Davis as well. That guy, for his first year of coaching, remarkable job. Remarkable job. The team, I think they did as much as they could do. Young cats. That center is a rebound machine. And if you could do that on one bad ankle, man, please. That cat is awesome. So, I'm happy that Kansas kind of made it through. They pulled through. allow me to be the first one to kind of pick a team and win. This bracket really wasn't that easy. As I thought last year bracket was a little more easy, but this bracket was more complex because you just had teams popping up out of nowhere, games, people going down, and you basically had to bite your nails through it. So good, good for most part tournament. I thought the tournament last year was better. I'm happy to be the winner, the first time winner. And like I said, a couple of weeks ago, ice goes down. Ice goes down. Ice goes down. Ice goes down. So I guess there's always going to be something going on between you and I, man. But, I ain't mad at you, man. Perk up. This race next year.
All right, Ice, you're the runner-up. So before we talk about the game and the weekend, your words, man.
No, congratulations. I mean, I'm glad to see, people win the first time or whatever. I'm glad to see him win, period. So it's all about it's about the competition. That's what we do it. It's fun. So no, I ain't no, bro. Like I said, you kind of like Phil Jackson them back in the day when you got the rings before, you don't sweat it. You happy for a gentleman like himself who won. He worked, like he said, he worked hard at it. He made a good choice. So I can never be mad at that. I mean, if I was mad or frustrated or something like that, then what would that say about myself? I mean, nah, man, you all you can do is like when you play sports or whatever, you give it the best fight and you hope you get close. I mean, you make a hell of a run. Like I said, to come close down to the final game, man, you think I'm tripping over that? I mean, hell, I had a shot. If they held that 15-point lead, we having a different conversation. I mean, how could I be mad? I'd never be mad. I mean, hell, I was right there. I was leading. I mean, what? At the end of the day, it just didn't work. You move on. Like you said, it's just more, as he said, more fuel for next year. Because you already know. You better start studying now. With all this BS pandemic and all that other bullshit, when it's straight up. Yeah, so congratulations, my brother. Congratulations over and over again. But if it come back right next time, all it did is just add fuel. It's all fun and games, bro. But we already know what you really want, though, don't we? That football type. Anyway, we're going to leave that right there. But congratulations. You are the champion of college basketball. You are the first to pick the champion of college basketball. You won kind of fair and square. We're going to talk about that later. But we're going to talk about that later. But right now, congratulations, winner.
Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about game. Of course, everybody knows that Kansas won 72-69. And I couldn't be more prouder than with North Carolina UNC. That's my college team. And I was happy with the win over Duke on the national stage in the rivalry game. You got Coach K, the first loss he took and the last loss he took in his career were to North Carolina. So I was happy about that. So everything else was gravy, but I was really hoping when North Carolina got up on halftime that they would really kind of pull it out. But I felt, I'll go back to Black on this one, I felt like North Carolina, they only went maybe 7 deep. And Pete Johnson really came off the bench, came in with 11.6 rebounds. He got hurt. I guess he got bowled in the stomach. He was thrown up on the court. But Kansas went 9 deep, and they just seemed to wear North Carolina out. And this should be a lesson to Hubert Davis. He did an excellent job. I didn't even have Carolina in the tournament, let alone even winning a game in the tournament. But you got to do more recruiting to fill that bench up in times like these. After that win against Duke, only playing 5 players, your first starters in the second half of that game, and then try to have those young guys come back and do it again. It was just a big feat that they just couldn't accomplish at this time. Black?
I think they did well after the win over Duke to come out and don't let the emotions kind of get to them. They came out, they were a little sluggish in the beginning, and then they kind of got it together and they rolled. And I think at some point, finally pull up with them. And I agree with you about going deeper, because that's one thing I should admire about Phil Jackson. If you had a uniform on, you're playing. It doesn't matter what number you are, Phil is going to get you on the floor at some point, because you never know when you can give me 2 or 3 minutes. And it's ironic. I'm not sure if he played under Pat Riley, Hubert Davis, but that's how Pat Riley used to coach, especially when he got to the playoffs. He only won 6, won 7.
Yeah.
And it's like, those 7 guys, when they wear out. So you got to have some guys that you can throw in there for some spare minutes just to kind of give you something. And if anything, hopefully he learns from that and kind of move on. But I think overall, he did a hell of a job coaching, bro. I think the team itself, I can't even say they played beyond themselves because they just played, man. They had some young cats. They just they had some ball, had some dog in them. And that center, man. I mean, you think about his ankle. Yeah, you think about his ankle at the end of the game of Duke. He shows up 2 nights later and it's like, limping and what, and is balling out. So, I mean, the heart of that cat and, the way he goes about it, it's kind of like old school. Because when the last time you hear players in college knocking down 15, 16 rebounds per game, when the ball goes up, he has something inside of him that just wants to go get it. That determination, which speaks volumes. But the game itself, man, it's kind of like how Kansas basically have done it throughout the tournament. They kind of start well. They find a part of the game where they kind of go high and they look like they don't have it together. And then all of a sudden they go in the room, put something in their nose, whatever the case may be, and they come back out and and they do what they have to. They take care of business. I'm glad that I did pick them to go all the way and kind of win. I mean, looking at some of the top seeds, there was the only team that kind of jumped out to me that I thought, and looking at where they were with their brackets, that can kind of get there. I didn't really trust Auburn. I felt Gonzaga couldn't kind of really do it. So those 2 teams, to me, I thought they might have made some noise, but I didn't think it was going to be there when it's all said and done. So no, Kansas basically proved that night they deserved to be there. And another team I want to talk about, we haven't said and brought their name up yet, Villanova, man. That coach, what he did with that team, is amazing, bro. How he takes that team, just moves them through the tournament every year, no matter. Some of the players, I didn't even know their names, but he finds a way. And of course, they lost one of their players before they came to play Kansas, but that cat can coach, man. And it's amazing that he stayed there all those years, because I'm telling you, if he came to the NBA, he would out-coach a lot of these NBA coaches, in my opinion.
Yeah, when I looked at the Villanova game, Ice, I was really kind of sad that their second leading scorer was out injured. And I thought that game would be totally different if he kind of brings the spirit to the defense and the offense. And so I think he averaged about 15 points a game. But I got to give it to Kansas. You had McCormick, who had a double-double with 15 points, 10 rebounds. You had Obaji, who didn't really kind of set the court on fire offensively like he did at Villanova, because he was hitting threes like it was nobody's business. But North Carolina had a guy on him, this senior, I believe Black, on him, and just staying with him, not letting him get that open 3-point shot. Well, he wound up with 12 points. But I think the guy that really kind of took Kansas over the top, it was 2 guys, Braun and Remy Martin, the transfer out of Arizona State. So your thoughts about Monday's games or the Final 4 games?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at it from the standpoint, and you watch Kansas early, you knew that they had veteran leadership, right? They had a couple older guys, and Bill Self kind of played with that. When you watch them play, and especially in their conference, they played some ugly games. What I mean by that, they played just enough to be around, hang around, and then they found ways to win. And he used that because a lot of those guys had the experience and they knew how to play basketball. And they waited till the end and they were able to go through they played some very tough games. They played a tough schedule, with their conference was very tough. And then as they got to the tournament, they kept doing what they were doing. The other thing in the tournament that really helped them is the factor that Remy Martin he became a force. And they didn't have it early in the year like that. I mean, they were waiting on him. I don't know if it's hurt or something else was going on, but he wasn't the force that he was before. But in those last games in the tournament, I mean, when you leave a dude open shooting, you kill him, right? That's what part I didn't understand, why they didn't have somebody more up on him and up on his face. I mean, sometimes he was just lighting people up and they still watching him. But credit to Bill Self too, who is a solid coach, has been doing it for years, and making it happen. And he's built for that moment. I think he's like the only Kansas coach to win back-to-back, to win, 2 titles.
2 titles, yes.
Yeah. So he's built for that, man. I mean, the moment's not too big for him. The other part too is knowing that Kansas was strong and had maturity. I didn't want to pick them because, I had them the one time we did before, when you look about in 20, we had Azubuike, in the tournament that never happened.
Right.
But, Bill Self is strong like that. But I'll say this, that the one thing that I thought too, I thought as much as I want to give Hubert Davis love, I want to give the North Carolina players love because of the fact that after they beat Duke in ending Coach K's run at home, a switch turned on for them. And they start coming on, start playing real well. and they got high cats like Love. I mean, they played real well, the transfer from Oklahoma. But the one thing I think was the difference, particularly in the North Carolina game and the Kansas championship game, is the factor that I think Hubert Davis' inexperience as a coach hurt them in that game. And I tell you why, you're up 15 at halftime. They go when Kansas goes in, they make adjustments. No adjustments made whatsoever by North Carolina. And I know Love was off. They had the center hurt, but they made no adjustments. They kept playing the same way. Kansas made changes. Remy Martin started getting a little bit more involved. They got a little bit more physical with them. And when the shots were not falling for North Carolina, they made no changes. They were still getting up and down because they were athletic and running. That's how they've been winning throughout the tournament. But of some changes by a coach, an experienced coach could have helped them. Because the whole time when you talk to Hubert Davis, he said, you know, these guys have done it all. I'm kind of going by how they go. He never said about what they were doing as a team and the construction. Yeah. He never said that. I'm not mad at him. I just think his inexperience played a lot because the guys were balling. I'm like, you up 15 at halftime? Hell, if you just call a timeout and keep everybody together, composed, and not turn the ball over, you got a shot to still win by 6. He never made adjustments. When they were going downhill, it just came and went. And you could see, you know, they down by 9, they down by 7, they down by 4. And Kansas has the lead. I'm like, what about the timeouts, bro?
Yeah.
You know,
zone,
it went from 15 to down 1.
Yeah.
Like, damn. But to me, part of that's coaching. I mean, nothing against Hubert Davis. First time, great things, and he's built on it. But it was real where Bill Self was doing it. Bill Self did the same thing, remember, when they played Memphis back in the day.
Yep.
Right? When they played against Derrick Rose and them. That's what he does. He knows how it plays and for big time games, and he has the personnel to do it, particularly in this situation. But I think North Carolina played better than Duke would have. I think Duke would have been a little bit more inexperienced. And I think that's what North Carolina did. But hats off to Kansas. They got it done. You know, Bill Self has that way, man. That's what he does. And he coached his team. Yeah. Hubert Davis was kind of, like I said, I think his inexperience, not being in the moment, it hurt him. But, you know, it is what it is. Kansas got it done, and they're national champions.
Yeah. Also want to give some love to South Carolina and their national championship. It just saw, I'm going to go back to you on this one, Black. I thought UConn would be more gritty, would grind the game out a little bit. But South Carolina, all tournament, watched them all tournament. They were just blowing through teams. And they are the elite in women's college basketball at this particular time. And remember, not too long ago, we were saying, who can catch up with UConn? Who can compare? And now recruits are going elsewhere. They're going to different colleges, and they're competing with UConn. And Gino has his work cut out for him to get UConn back to. You can't blame him for making 14 straight Final Fours and, you know, winning all those championships. But now he's got to really kind of work to get to a national championship and recruit some players that can get him there.
You know, I'm going to take you back a little while ago. I'm going to connect this to Gino. Remember years ago when UConn, the basketball team started coming on, and Jim Calhoun was the head coach, and the players just started coming to Calhoun because for a while, Calhoun was kind of like a turnpike to get to the college, to get to the pros. He was, and the players just started coming. Now, with Gino, good coach, great coach, I'll give him that. But for a long time, he had the turnpike with players just coming. They wanted to come to UConn. They turned away good players at UConn, women college for a while. They turned away. Now, like you said, those players had decided, you know what? I'm not even going to try UConn no more. I'm going to go somewhere else. And not only that, South Carolina now has the turnpike, and I'm going to say it point blank, to good Black women that want to play basketball, bro. They want to play for Dawn Staley. They want to be coached by her. They want to be under her. They want that grittiness of her. And she's taken that and taken it to another level. And when you watch her, in my opinion, when you watch her against UConn, it's here, she's here, and UConn is there. They're trying, but they can't match up to that grittiness. And that's to take nothing away from UConn, because I didn't think they was going to make it that far, but it's a good possibility. I thought they would. But in reality, the type of players that Gino's getting now compared to the type of players that Dawn Staley is recruiting and bringing in, it's a different class, bro. You look at Wilson that was there. They have a statue outside of her, bro. outside of Sacramento. I mean, think about that. There's no statue. Rebecca Lobo, none of them at Storrs. So she's getting that type of talent that wants to come play for her, the grittiness that's willing to come play, where you kind of still getting some of it. But I think that's a huge part of the difference in Dawn Staley. She can coach. She can do her thing, man. So when you put all that together, they're going to be riding high for a long period of time. Congratulations to them. I'm loving what Dawn is doing. Keep going strong.
2 national championships, Ice. And when me and Pop talked about it over the phone, it's like Dawn Stanley knows her team, where if they got in trouble, she wouldn't even call a timeout. She'd just give them a look, and they knew exactly what to do, how to handle the situation. And that's a sign of a well-coached team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no doubt. South Carolina played well as a team, right? They have look at Player of the Year, right, in the Aaliyah Boston, but they won as a team. And the main thing was they were not intimidated by the tradition of UConn. All right, UConn had all kind of injuries this year, and it was amazing they even got to that point. And they had Paige Beckers come back and balling, but they shut her down. They held her down. Destiny Henderson had 26 points, and she was like just locking the so-called one of the former Player of the Years down and making it happen. The steady team effort, they just played strong. Don Staley had them on a different level defensively. They were not afraid. They were just like, we're not Stanford. We're not getting caught up in this. We came here to win this thing. And normally, like I said, with Boston usually is the dominant figure. But the point was they just said, nah, we're going to win this as a team. And I think that's what they did. When I looked at the shooting percentages, they didn't have the greatest shooting night, but it didn't matter because they were on lockdown on the UConn players. They took the game from them, and they were just intimidating. Other teams get, you saw, who'd they play? I think it was UConn, was it North Carolina State or somebody? Yeah. North Carolina State, it was real tight. They had a tough game early on with Stanford, but against South Carolina, from the beginning, it was no doubt who was in charge. And they just rolled with that. Coach was like, we get it going. And, when you see a person like, Destiny Henderson, who's real quiet, didn't really have a lot. That was like her big game. She had 26 points, career high. She came on when they needed her. And that's what she did over the course of the season.
She reminds me of Dawn Stanley, man.
Yeah. When she stepped up, she just very aggressive and whatnot. But they said she's just a very quiet person as well off the court. So with that being said, again, great team effort by them, and just kind of exudes what Don Staley brings to the table as a coach.
So one of the top headlines, the Lakers are out, but Tiger Woods is in the Masters. So and ESPN has just been rolling, and the Masters coming up on the 9th. I'm gonna go to ice water first because I know Black is gonna have some haterade on Tiger Woods. But it seems like the golfing world has got a breath of life, and Tiger Woods, I don't know what they're expecting from Tiger Woods at this particular point, but it's like you watch ESPN or some of the other channels, and it's this Tiger Woods watch again, and all I can say is, here we go again. Ice.
Man, I'm gonna just say this is I've been a promoter of Tiger Woods because of what he can do on the golf course, but this is a damn sham, bruh. I mean, you mean to tell me this dude been through 19 surgeries and been all kind of mental issues where he done damn near killed himself, allegedly, just keeping it 100, bruh, with prescription drugs and shit like that too. Excuse my language. But all this going on, and in golf, you don't have anybody you can promote. You got to go back and bring this dude out the mothballs and put him out there like he's coming back and he's having such a return. I mean, remember, dude almost lost his leg, man, in a car accident. They almost cut that dude's leg off. So my question is, I mean, I'm glad if you want to play, let him play. But to make like it's this great thing coming back, because Tiger said he's coming back. My question is this. Okay, if you make the cut, let's just say the first 2 days, you played Thursday, Friday, you got to make the cut, right? You got to make the cut. So that's at least 2 days. What nobody's talking about is, how the hell are you going to walk that far, bro?
Yeah.
We got bad knees, bad legs. You damn near cut your foot or leg off. And you talking about playing? I mean, I think you can hit the shots. I mean, whatever. That's not even the concern. Concern is, you ain't in no cart, bro. Did you get an exemption like old boy did few years ago, you're walking the trails. And that you talk about making it hard. So I think it's sad that golf has to resort to bringing him back in such a manner to promote it that you can't get people interested. I said it before, and I will say it again. They don't have anybody that plays consistent, great golf. They got to have a lot of good golfers, but they always try to put some people up like they great. No, the hell they not. There's only a few great golfers, the Jack Nicklauses of the world. Tiger Woods, you go back to Arnold Palmer, we can start naming the names. There's a select few. So you need to start riding around these younger guys and trying to find somebody, but put a 40, was he 40? How old is he?
I don't even know at this particular.
Whatever it is, but however, dude should be on senior tour right now. I'm just saying, because of this situation, he should be on senior tour. And my last point, I know that was a little rant, and I'm sorry. I would rather watch, and I'm gonna probably check it, just maybe take a peek at it, but I'd rather watch his son Charlie playing that damn tournament against them dudes. If you going, I'm serious. At least I know what he got. He's young, he's coming with it. I'd rather watch that young dude out there instead of his dad. I'm telling you, that I would rather, just to see his experience, how would he adapt with it? It might be too much pressure, just to see him, right? I'd rather see that than watch Tiger, because that's how sad golf is right now.
Wow. Black, turn it over to you, man.
You know, I've always been, I guess, as you say, haterade or harsh on golf. And golf is in trouble, bro. It's in serious trouble, man. And, you know, I touch on a few of the points, but if you have to basically pull Tiger Woods in for people to pay attention and honor when your greatest tournament of all, the Masters, you're in trouble, Wallace. You're in trouble. I'm not gonna be afraid to say. I think the guy tried to kill himself, and to act like he's doing something miraculous to swing a damn golf club. Tiger Woods need to learn on living life without golf. He just need to learn it, bro. Because let's just say hypothetically, I'm gonna take hypothetically out. Let's take it right out. He says, I'm in it to win. I don't think he's mentally strong enough, bro, if he doesn't make the cut. I don't think he is. What's he gonna do if he doesn't make the cut? See, when Tiger goes home and not making the cut, when all the fanfare and ESPN, they run away from him, he doesn't make the cut, he has to go home with this. And there's something wrong with this cat, bro. In my opinion, there's something wrong. I know he looks at Tom Brady and go, Tom Brady, yeah. But Tom Brady ain't had, like I said, the 19 operations. Tom Brady ain't drive his car into an embankment 14 months ago. And we want to treat that, not we, but they want to treat none of that like it's happened. It's like it's like Tiger is the black god of golf, and they need him. You have to move on. At some point, golf has to move on. I don't care if you got Mickey Mouse out there swinging the club. You got to go. If your sport just relying on him to survive, you're in trouble. I mean, you are absolutely, it's sad. It's beyond sad. I mean, you can call it haterade, whatever you want, but you got a bunch of people sitting around waiting for Tiger Woods like he's the coming of the Messiah. I don't understand it. Now, I understand there'd be a certain excitement because he wants to try, but I don't know this much about golf, and I don't, care to know that much about golf. Aren't there some pre-tournaments or something you should go in and kind of win, at least cut to get to the Masters?
I think he wanted to make a splash. That's my opinion, that he didn't want to go through all those tournaments. He wanted
because he can't, bro.
Master.
Because he can't. Because he wanted the big. He didn't want no.
Black, I just think he wanted the big stage at this particular.
Because he can't. I mean, that's my point. Is because he can't. And the mere fact they're allowing him to just jump everything else because he's Tiger Woods tells you all you need to know. He wants the attention, but at some point, no matter how good you are as an entertainer, as an artist, whatever, the lights go off at some point, bro. And you got to go home, Tiger. You got to go home. And that's what he don't understand. But you're going to keep coming out every year and roll to the Masters. When you get cut, you don't make the cut. You go, crash your car again? Go live your life. And I'm going to take a different, I said about his son. I think that's the worst thing he can do is have his son out there playing golf. His son don't want to play golf. His son's only doing that because his father wants him to. Bro, let your son go be whatever he wants other than swinging a golf club. Stop living. I know what your father did to you. You don't have to do that to your son. He may never be as good as you, but he's going to try to live up to it. So you're damaging him mentally. It's sad, bro. From top to bottom, it's sad. But they treating him like, oh, Tiger, we're going to talk to him at 10 o'clock. Yeah, I think I could win. Tiger, cut it out, boss. I ain't afraid to say it. You ain't been the same since your wife kicked your ass, boss. You ain't been the same. I don't know how long that was, but the true fact, it is what it is. You still battling those demons. Take care of them first. Work on this first. Forget the Masters. Forget it. You owe golf nothing. Well, obviously, golf owes you something. Yeah. It's crazy, bro. Absolutely. Lunacy. Crazy. Yeah. But it tells you the type of world that we live in.
Yeah.
Because hype and everything else is more important than actual true talent. It really is. If you can hype something and sell something, it's more important than anything else. It really is. There's no substance to this, bro. None. It's sad. Again, like I said, that was going to cut his legs off. This ain't no comeback story. It'd be a different story if he was out a couple of months, he got injured, and he was on the top of his game. He's coming back. No, he has been on top of his game for a long time, boss. Let's get real.
Yeah.
It's just that people look at him as a Marvel character, and they refuse to put the cover over him. It'll happen. It's just a matter of time. It'll happen. Yeah,
and this is
going to happen in a couple of days.
Yeah, I've been avoiding getting into the hype, watching it. I just been kind of avoiding it because I'm watching other sports shows or watching other things. But it's kind of it. Hopefully, it won't damage him to a point where it messes up his head even more. But we'll see. We'll see. Kareem apologizes to LeBron. Ice. And I'll preface this by saying this. I've been watching Winning, the HBO series on the Lakers Dynasty. Really good series. It let me know a lot of things that was happening with the Laker, Jerry Buss, Jeannie Buss, and all that. How Jerry West really didn't want Magic Johnson. He wanted to draft Sidney Moncrief. They kind of portray Jerry West as a kind of a head case because he had an abusive father. But also Kareem's character, about Kareem and accepting Islam. And he's been like this all his life where he had to kind of avoid the press and folks kind of look at him with reverence, but with fear also. But one of the things that came out in the series is that Kareem wants everybody to think and live like him. And people don't kind of have that same idea. And it bothers him to the point where he isolates himself and he kind of goes after folks who don't kind of act and who's an activist just like him. What are your thoughts about this apology to LeBron, Ice?
Well, I think it started to really hit home for him, or he wants to stay relevant, man. I'm gonna keep this 100. Kareem had some issues where he had a fire where they said he didn't have any insurance. He had a major jazz collection, bro, in his house, and he lost the fire, almost destroyed everything. We're talking about millions of dollars. So I know he's somewhat stable, but it's not all peaches and cream. I think he has some financial issues. Dude has been sick lately. He had a lot of stuff going on. And for a while, it seemed like he was bitter, right? I mean, he was mad at the world. And like you said, you wasn't like him. It's the reason why he was trying to be a coach. He was on TV. And then after a while, you start seeing him on ESPN and doing shows. And I think it's because he needed the money, man. I mean, this is the greatest scorer of all time, really. And I think that his demeanor, his way, of doing things came back on him. As you mentioned, he was going after people. We wanted people to be like him, but he had some slip-ups too, I mean, just keep it 100. If you read the book of Pam Greer's book, she was in love with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It was wanted to marry Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but she says when he joined Islam or whatever, he became a Muslim, he said he's gonna have more than one wife. She's like, I'm Pam Greer. We won't do that. You ain't gonna have me with 3, 4. I ain't gonna be in no harem. So that's why she didn't marry him. But he's always been a different kind of dude. I mean, he's very intelligent dude, smart, hell of a basketball player, but he's been different. And I'm gonna say allegedly, and maybe this is too much information, but I remember Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong lives in this neighborhood. And he said that, Kareem was, partaking in some marijuana products.
Well, they show it in the show, yeah.
And he said Tommy Chong told him he wanted Tommy Chong to get him some weed, right? So he's like, all right, I got you, Kareem, no problem. So Kareem had this big house, man. And he like, all right, what you need? And he told him. So he said he go down to the house and he thinking, all right, well, we're gonna make the transaction. we do whatever, a little something. You can just slide it out open the door, slide it out too. I give you stuff and we gone, right? Dude said he get down there, he said, and I'm kind of probably botching this up. He said he get down to Kareem, he said, it's me. And he says, looking for him to open up the door, bro. Kareem talking about put it through the slot, the mail slot. Dude said, what? Are you kidding me? Hey, wait a minute. I done came down here, I got this weed. You want to want me to put it through the mail slot with my hand? And you want to give me the weed, like you want to get the money back like that? He was like, dude, that dude's a different kind of bird, man. So, I mean, I was like, but getting to the point of LeBron, it's like, people are always going to be different, man. Your generation ain't going to be the same. The only point I say is, love or hate LeBron or how he goes about his business. I'll say this, as an elder, particularly with Kareem, you got to look at things, what you can do, man, and understand you weren't perfect and neither would these young people be. They, the one thing I will say about LeBron, he respects Kareem Abdul-Jabbar so much that when it was presented to him, he didn't say a word.
Right.
He just took it and said, what can I do? Ain't nothing I can say to that. So he did respect him, but I think Kareem, there's no perfect people in this world, man. It was only one. And granted, as much love as Kareem is now starting to get, and he wasn't getting it early, I just hope that he was sincere about it and realized, man, that a lot of these cats looking at him for guidance. And instead of being angry and crotchety and mean and stuff, drop some real knowledge on them, man, that might help them in the world, and then as not so much a role model, but as a man.
Yeah, Black one, watching the show, which is a good show. I love the show because the characters always break the fourth wall and tell you what they're thinking as they're going through the scenes. And there was one scene where Kareem kind of came to, understanding and trying to kind of embrace Magic, and told him he needed to, change his energy, all this other stuff, and be more for the team. And Magic challenges Kareem, and they get into a fight in the locker room about, hey, man, you ain't working as hard. You're supposed to be guiding us. We're all kind of, kowtowing to you, and you're treating us like this. We're busting our butt. What about you? Be the leader that you say you are. So your thoughts about this, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar apologizing to LeBron or criticizing LeBron?
To me, that was so trivial and petty, bro. I mean, if you say something, if you want to criticize somebody, make it of substance. I mean, to me, constructive criticism is not a bad thing. There was nothing constructive about that, bro. Nothing. And it's sad. It shows how petty he is. But I'm not surprised, because imagine that's the person that would have been a head coach of young men. Just imagine. He never had it in him, bro. He never really had it in him. He always basically tried to, be who he was. And to me, I don't think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar know who he is. You call him an activist. When do you ever seen him do anything on an activist level? All these years, he's been called one and was like, where's he been? I don't know. So my point is, it's like he wants certain things that he's not incapable of even carrying out. He made up in his mind, I want to be an NBA coach. Bro, you've never done anything to show anybody that you can be an NBA head coach. But you think because of your name, you should just be afforded to. He basically changed his name from Lou Alcindor and became a Muslim. Bro, and for the most part, when have you basically taken that and championed that? I haven't known it. I haven't seen nothing about it other than you changing the name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm sorry, in the public, when have you basically identified that to be who you are? So to me, every now and then he comes up with these grandiose ideas. I want to do this. I want to be known. But at the nature of it, he has no personality, none. He's like a grumpy old guy that's out there. And like you talk about the fight with what's the name? It's like I just float along and people just basically roll with me. And society doesn't work that way. At some point, somebody's going to check you. And the NBA has checked him hard. So to me, I'm looking at the stuff with LeBron, where he's fearful LeBron's going to take away the little bit of validation he's still getting when he passes him with the scoring title. In that sense, so what can I do? Take a shot at him, make people not look at him and kind of focus more on me. And to me, if you had a problem with that with LeBron, this is not the time to say. He could have said that a long time ago. There's been many times you probably talked about LeBron and you kept it quiet. So to say it now to me is real childish and petty, and even the statement itself is childish and petty. But that's who Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is. He's not strong up here, in my opinion. He's just not, bro. He just basically floats along. He goes to this, he goes to that. He doesn't stand square. And I've yet to see him as a man stand square on his own 2 feet and do anything. That's just my opinion.
All right. Let's go to the NBA, and the Lakers are out as predicted by some of us on the squad, if not all of us on the squad. LeBron put this team together, and now they're out of the playoffs. I had to watch Shannon Sharp today try to explain to Skip Bayless why this is happening. And Skip Bayless kind of basically said, how you put this gang of players together and expect to win? But let's go to you, Black, for your eye test on the NBA.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about the Lakers, man. We did enough bashing with them. Not even bashing, just being honest, bro. It's just kind of, you know, LeBron, at some point, you get what you get. You put this team together, you decided Westbrook, you don't want it. The Magic Johnson came on TV the other day. They're gonna have so-and-so. Magic, who doesn't know that, bro? You're not dropping. The Ishmael guy was breaking news. Who didn't know that? Realistically, they called me first. That didn't stop lying, Magic. Rose's agent didn't call you first. Let's stop lying. You always act like you're in the middle of things. First of all, wear suits that fit you better. You get your suit custom made. Not the best come out a little bit. They're too tight. They're too tight. Now, I'll go to what is going on. NBA, my future sport. I like Milwaukee, what they're doing, bro. I just like the way they could basically come along. And don't get me wrong, Brooklyn got the dash, they got all this. You got Durant scoring 46 points, and they still losing. Still losing. What's it take for that team when they have no defense? There is no defense. And some people be caught up with the fact that they can score a lot of points. Irving can score a lot of points. And that's not going to win playoff games, bro. Just not going to win it. It's not going to win it at all. So I think at some point you're going to see me kind of slide out. I'm going to keep an eye on Philadelphia because to me, this is really now when the playoffs really kicks off, what are they going to do? What is going to happen with it? Because we know what to kind of expect from Harden. And if you kind of notice too, Embiid is kind of coming back down. He has his moments, but he has not been truly a beast since kind of Harden kind of came there, in my opinion. So we're going to kind of keep an eye on that. To me, Phoenix is kind of just like buying his time. They're kind of just moving along. They're going along quietly. And I think it's going to happen again. We see Phoenix and Milwaukee kind of butt heads. I don't see the West as the playoffs are going to be that exciting in a sense. I'm curious to see how Boston can kind of play things too once they get in there. Miami seems like they're kind of getting it back together, but I question Miami is where is their scoring going to come from when they have to score a lot of points? That's something about them. I know they can play good defense, but Jimmy Butler is not going to be your perennial scorer each night. It's just he does it in moments, but where the scoring is going to come from that team to get them over the hump, and that's I think it's going to be their problem when the playoff starts.
All right, Ice. You can take either the Lakers being out, are you surprised, or and do your eye test on the NBA. I'm looking at Boston, and I don't want to play Boston in the playoffs. I do not want that team in the playoff. I'm kind of just bypassing Miami. Milwaukee and Boston are the teams in the East that are dangerous to me. In the West, you and I have been talking about this for weeks. Memphis, I'm not scared of them. But Utah can't hold a lead. I don't understand how they can't hold a lead in the fourth quarter. And Phoenix seems to be waiting for folks to play them in the Western Conference Championship and then going on to the finals. Your thoughts?
Yeah, real quick with the Lakers, I mean, after a while, you can see what's happening, right? I mean, so I don't know, everybody got all excited thinking they was going to turn it around. If they really wanted to turn around, then LeBron could have just took over and just, score as many points as he wanted to, put people in place. He didn't do that. When he said, you know what, all right, this is another lost season, we let it go. AD was trying for a little bit. Westbrook wasn't working. And you notice every time LeBron wanted to prove a point, he dropped 50. He dropped 50 and they win. It was like, okay, 50 and I win, 50, I win. So to me, it was like, he thought it was a lost cause, he let it go. We get ready for next year, whatever it's going to be. They're going to make some changes, try to make some moves, but that's what that was. But in the rest of the NBA, when you look at the West, Phoenix, we just need to ask that question. Are they going to be able to hold on and be solid? Right now, they look more consistent than anybody else. The one team I'm surprised that is really, I think it's a lot more turmoil going over there, is Utah. I think they're going to mess around, break that up, because you got the big fella over there, Gobert, and then you also got the shooter over there, the scorer. I think it's some rumblings. Now they're saying some stuff going on with the coach. I would not be surprised if they shake that up all up next year. Golden State's not going to have Wiseman. They're just going to be hurt. So I think they're not going to do what initially you may thought they were at first, they had a chance at all. I don't think they're going to be healthy enough to do anything. So many other teams that you look over there and you go, One team I do think, and I'm not sure if they're going to get healthy or not, if Murray's coming back or whatever, but in the right situation, Denver, I'm telling you, with the Joker, and you got Barton playing a little bit and some of them old vets over there, that's what you do with them vets. You can have the regular season. I never get excited about the NBA on regular season anymore. But them old vets, dude, them cats over there, Gordon and cats like that get over there. What's my man with the dreads that was in Miami last year? You get them old cats and they start balling, man. They start getting in that half court. So I'm gonna be looking at Denver because Denver can cause some problems with some people. And as long as the Joker doing what he does, it can be some problems. Looking over to the East, I'm also interested to see what Philadelphia does. Everybody pumping up. Oh, James Harden gonna make a run. Okay, I told you, I made my declaration. I ain't doing that no more. I ain't working with it. I told you, I ain't doing that no more. We ain't gonna waste time on that. Milwaukee is doing what they're coming along. I tell you what, I said y'all before, Jack Tripper is balling his ass off of them. Yeah. Grayson Allen is what they need. He nasty, he mean, he's spitting on people, he's knocking people out, trying to put them in convulsions. He's exactly what they need. Jack Tripper is
he ruined Chicago's whole run.
Yeah, Jack Tripper is built for Milwaukee. He's exactly what they need. They need a little meanness to him. Because everybody else is sight and you're nice and okay, I'm just glad to be here. Okay, all that. Jack Tripper, like, hell with that. Let's go. Chicago not having ball for the rest of the year is going to be detrimental. It's going to be really sad. They're young. I want to see them, but I don't think anything's going to happen there. You got Miami's getting by. The one thing I found funny is I was laughing. And I know how we talk about Brooklyn with all that madness. They dropped the 10th place, right? This is how crazy this NBA is this year. They dropped the 10th place because they kept losing and losing. They won one freaking game. They went from 10th to 8th.
Yeah.
Like that close to 7th, just like that. I'm like, you got Cleveland, you got Charlotte hanging around, Toronto, all that too. So I'll say this. I don't think Brooklyn, even though they got Kyrie back, has a chance in hell winning it all this year. I do not. But I will say this. If they end up facing Miami in the first round, you might want to watch that. You might want to watch it. And all I'm saying is, I think Milwaukee, they showed they try to compete with Milwaukee. And I think Milwaukee is a better team right now. But if they go the other route where they end up playing Miami in the first round, and then they will end up playing the winner of Philadelphia, whoever else. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but I can see them advancing just because of the teams are not ready. I'm telling you, Philadelphia, with all of that, they showed you they ain't Harden's head. Anytime they're ready to do that, I'm not sure what Miami can do because Jimmy Butler mad everybody too. So that's another head case. So all these head cases keep coming around, which feeds to what Brooklyn can do, even with a ragtag team of players right now can do. So I'll be interested to see what the East can do. I'm not really feeling confident a lot about it. I mean, like I said, maybe it's going to be Milwaukee again, Milwaukee and Phoenix. But right now, the rest of the East is a mess. And maybe Boston, but I still think I want to know, my last question on this about Boston is, do they have enough to pull the load? Yeah. You got Tatum, you got Brown, but what else? You need something else. You got White that came over from San Antonio, and I'm not sure if they have enough to get through.
I think when Boston, there's two teams I'll speak on. I think when Boston turned it over to Tatum, that's when their season started, that this is our guy. This is the lead guy. That's when their season started to turn around, and they got more aggressive. Him and Brown. Those guys started to turn it around. Gobert from Utah is useless. Utah, you need to trade Gobert and get whatever you need to get from him, because that guy is a 7-foot dude who is useless, and you're not winning a championship with him. He's too soft. It seems like rebounds will come around him, and he's like, it's like a repellent. He doesn't get the rebound. He's tall and lanky enough to get rebounds and get boards, but I don't know what it is. And so you can't have Mitchell and Gobert there. I think it's something between those two, and it's been going on the second or third year. You got to get rid of Gobert and keep Mitchell, and you got to figure out a way to keep a lead. I've watched Utah, but like since last week, I made 2 or 3 games where they get big leads in the third quarter and then lose them in the fourth. And I don't understand why. You got a center there that's supposed to be blocking and protecting the paint. You got you start throwing up threes, Mitchell throwing up threes and stuff, and all of a sudden you had a 20-something point lead, and now all of a sudden you lose in the game at the end of the fourth quarter. You got to figure that out, or you're not going anywhere in the West. Black, you were shaking your head about something?
Yeah, you were speaking of Donovan Mitchell and Gobert. It started back when the height of the pandemic. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he came. He test positive, and he came to the facilities like it was no big deal, bro. And what's his name lost his mind. The other cat lost his mind. Like, why would you come in knowing that you're? He was like, he said he had no symptoms, but he tested positive. So I don't think they got over that. I don't think those two kind of got over it because the other player was real hot about it. And I think that's kind of played on. You're right. Gobert basically gives you nothing. I mean, you wait for him, you wait, and it's like, But I think even beyond that, that team needs a little bit more tinkering too, to get some other players in, and they find the roles of the players. It seemed like one night this cat's trying to find his groove. This night, and nobody's trying. They don't play cohesive. You never watch them play together and play solid, and that's coaching. That is coaching right there. I don't think they're coached well. And I hate to throw the coach out there like that, but I think 2 moves have to happen. Bring in a better coach, and you have to basically allow Gobert to go. You have to.
Yeah, you got to get a dog at that center or power forward position. They need that. Yeah. Rest in peace to Gene Shue. I remember him as one of the coaches that he doesn't get a lot of mentions. He won 500 and 22 wins, a franchise record with the Washington Bullets. I know he coached the Washington Bullets in 1971 against the Milwaukee Bucks. He also coached with Philly and some other teams. I think he played for Detroit for a few years, had 3 50-win seasons, and didn't win the championship. But that was a name, Ice, that I remember back in the day when the NBA was the NBA or the Thuggish League. That was about to go out of business around 79 before Magic and Bird came in. Any words for Gene Shue?
Yeah, I mean, he gave a lot. This was when things were really, really tough back in the day, very physical. They were very tough in the East. It was hard for them when they played teams in the West because they were so stagnated when they played a lot of half-court basketball. So you think about him being around the likes, having a very mean physical team. I used to be a huge San Antonio Spurs fan because George Gervin, and they used to beat George Gervin up. I mean, it was just him versus them guys where it was like Elvin Hayes, Bobby Dandridge, and also Wes Unseld. They were very physical. But when they played the West, like when they would play Seattle Supersonics, they ran too much with the John Johnsons, the Freddie Browns of the world, Slick Watts, Jack Sigma, Gus Williams, and young Dennis Johnson. It was just too much, and even Marvin Webster. But they were tough in the East, and he really had that group together. They played well. They're always above 500, but sometimes it's very difficult for them to get over the hump because they were limited. But he had them playing solid basketball. And the fact that overall, a lot of people just didn't know it was a man's game back then. It was very tough to win games and also win championships in the league at that time.
Yeah. Black, your thoughts about Gene Shue?
He was the goon, long for school sports, baby. Realistically, man, he was, man. The physicality, he brought it. Some of his players probably, wasn't much more than that, but that's kind of what I remember. Basically, that he kind of had that physicality that kind of went to the court, that kind of his stature. We say sometimes players play like their coach, or they kind of play off their image of their coach, and that's what you saw with him.
Yeah, he will be missed. I didn't know he was 90 years old. He was kind of like he got forgotten in this modern NBA, but he was definitely a force to be reckoned with as a coach. Ice, give me your Major League Baseball report. The season starts here, I know, tomorrow. So I didn't know we were going to get here, but we're finally here.
Like I told you earlier, they're not gonna miss their money, bro. They ain't trying to nobody mess around. They like their money, bro. Everybody like their money in baseball. So it's like, oh, we don't know. We're gonna, man, they are not holding out. I knew that. They like their money. People want to go to the ballpark, eat, popcorn and throw peanuts at people and just drink beer. That's what they want to do. They want to have a good time. Anyway, real quick, when you look at the preview of the baseball season, just gonna throw some names out there. AL East, a lot of people are talking about Toronto because of the offseason moves they made. Yankees are second in that division. In AL Central, White Sox getting a lot of love. What Tony La Russa did last year. Detroit get a few mentions based on what they did in the offseason. In the AL East, it's all about the Braves, of course. Braves early on because they won the defending champions, but also the Mets. Mets made some moves the last couple of years, even despite losing their general manager. Never got a chance to really work on that. But a lot of people are talking about the Mets right now. In the NL Central, the Brewers, right? The Brewers have made some major moves, and they should be hot and heavy. Cardinals were also mentioned. NL West, of course, it's always about the Dodgers being the favorite. They keep spending that money, so they're always going to be up top, Pops. I know if you're watching, your group is still back. We'll see what they do, but the one thing I'll say about this, not sure who's going to happen in the pennant. Blue Jays are getting a lot of love for the moves that they made. But I'll just say this, for all Atlanta fans out there thinking Atlanta's going to repeat, there has not been a defending champion since 1998, 2000 through 2000 when the Yankees did it. So it's probably going to be somebody new. But we got a long way to go. I don't want to burden you anymore too much with baseball. Just tune in, and we got a long way to go. But they're back.
Yeah. I know the Dodgers got a new closer, which they really needed. So they got rid of Jansen, which I've been screaming about for the last 3 years. So it should be interesting. And I got to get Pop set up so he can watch all his games on, and you know what I'm talking about, getting set up on watching all the baseball games. So he'll be quiet for a while once opening day comes up. But I agree with you. Freddie Freeman from Atlanta, even though they're going to bring the young buck back, I think Jones. Houston lost a big-time player. There have been teams that lost big-time players that I don't think are going to be able to sniff a World Series for a while. But the Dodgers keep rolling, and let's see what the Yankees do. Black, your first question, bro.
It's going to kind of go back to baseball in a sense because I think I wasn't around. I might have missed the show when this was kind of happening, and I'm curious to understand. It's more me kind of gathering this knowledge in a sense. What happened with Derek Jeter in that franchise? Because it seemed like, they outed him. His name kind of like disappeared. And I didn't get a true understanding what took place.
Ice?
Yeah, from my understanding, checking into it and whatnot, they had a plan. Suppose there was a window or a plan that Derek Jeter had in place that he wanted to see the franchise go a certain kind of way. One of the things they brought in a female, I think she was like assistant general manager. Mm-hmm. And she really was connected with baseball. So he wanted to, kind of spread it out that way too. But he was going about it, bringing in talent, using his Yankee knowledge to try to help them come together. But somewhere along the way, after 5 years, I believe it was, somebody decided up in the front office they wanted to do something totally different. And I think part of that was scrapping, getting rid of some of the younger players that they have and some of the veterans and just kind of keep rebuilding. And he's like, well, we set something in place, a system where we can move forward, right? But at some point, they decide to scrap it. And it's like, well, damn, y'all can't keep rebuilding. Because he said, if y'all keep rebuilding like this, I don't want to be here. I'm going to let y'all do what y'all do because that's on my name now and we're not making progress. And he's like, I just don't want to be a general manager of a team or, be a part owner, what have you, of a team. I want to be on a part of a group that wants to continue to move forward and be successful. And I think they had a parting of the ways where they were the powers that be. Other people just thought they wanted to go another direction. And he said, you know what? I'm cool with that. Wish y'all nothing but the best, but I ain't trying to be with a perennial loser. So he cashed his chips in and bounced.
Yeah, I think I kind of summarized it exactly where I was going to summarize it. But I will say this is that remember in that Miami franchise, they were in trouble. They were in trouble financially. And he came in and stabled the ship to where he could justify moving forward with the plan they had together. But somewhere in midstream, the Miami Marlins was like, well, I think we want to go this way. And Derek Jeter's like, no, I'm trying to build a winner. And you're going against this plan that, is working, but you're not, if you're going in this direction, I know that's not going to work. So I don't want to be a part of the franchise. So I think it was a parting of ways where he saw that in midstream, once he was able to stabilize the situation, because he was getting rid of Stanton and all these high-priced players that weren't bringing anything to the Miami Marlins to stabilize that organization financially. And once he did that, they started to change up things midstream. And so he didn't want to be a part of it. And that's how it kind of played out. Yeah.
I just, hearing that, I find it interesting that he hasn't landed anywhere else then. You would think that someone would have grabbed him and just basically said, okay, come here because of his knowledge and what he did with that team. I always kind of thought, and I'm not saying this is true, I always thought they kind of grabbed him because of his name, not because of his knowledge. And I think they wanted a name down there to kind of feel like they were doing something. And I guess when they got to a certain point, when they realized, you know what, we got enough out of you, we squeezed enough juice we can out of that Jeter name, you know what, we're gonna do our thing now. And I could be wrong, but I always kind of from a distance kind of seen it that way.
Okay. Ice, what's your question?
Yeah, my question is, Don Staley won the championship recently. In regards to her legacy, how do you see her in regards to, if you consider the greats of women's college basketball? I mean, how do you view her amongst the greats in that profession?
Black?
I'm gonna say this, man, because to me, I like it when in women's basketball, NBA, WNBA, college, whatever, when a woman can dominate and get it done. And I'm just being honest. I mean, Gina, for whatever it is, the greatest, time to go, bro. Let a woman do this. These are women playing, man. Let the woman kind of step in because they don't have the free reign to come over to the pros or basically coach college men basketball. So to me, when you look how she came up as a player from college, WNBA, she did it the way it should be done and become a head coach and look what she's doing. And so I love that. Even when I think about it, and I'm not happy that she did this, but the assistant coach, I can't think of her name right now, that went to play back or going back to the Lakers and getting $1 million. For that reason, just being a woman, I like that. And I'm not saying that a woman should only coach women's basketball, but I do believe that there's something of a chemistry that a woman can basically do with other women when it comes down to playing. So for her, the role that she's taken and watch her over the years, absolutely, bro. I mean, she's knocking down and setting a high level, a threshold that others are going to have to reach up to. And they're going to get there. It's going to be some time, but they're going to get there. But I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I like it too. And I do agree with what you said. I always felt that Gino should go to the men's and the game in college and coach there. Because, yeah, it's okay with the women. You showed your dominance there. But can his coaching translate to the men? I always wondered that. But whatever she does now, in my opinion, she did at a player in college, a player in the pros with the U.S. Olympic team, and now in college. Anything she does now is icing on the cake. She is more than proving herself and proving herself an adversary, a great adversary for Gino with UConn basketball and all the other coaches, whether most of the male coaches on different levels and the pros and all the other stuff. So I kudos to her, man, because when I saw that guard Henderson, I'm like, man, this is Dawn Stanley #2. I mean, it's not, and what better way and who better to kind of teach you and mentor you to be that tough point guard that's going to get you to the next level and to the Olympics and all that stuff. So I think whatever she does now is just icing on the cake, man. And I root for her. I root for her and her attitude, her persona, how she kind of carries herself. I root for her. And I hope there are many more women who take over the women's college basketball game. And also, I wouldn't put it past her if one day she start coaching the men. I think she's that tough and I think she's that talented. Ice?
Yeah, well, I'm glad she won. There were a number of people of color, particularly female, African-American females that were coaching during the tournament on that level. And there's a couple stories out there about that. I want to see that influx continue. I'd like to see her continue to win, because I think the more she wins, the more it kind of, kind of rises her star, right? And you mentioned about Gino. I mean, that's another story for me about that. I mean, can't take away what they did at UConn, but certain people, they are good at where they're at. I don't think the men would take him seriously, bro. I mean, you can do that, talk to women about that, but I don't think they would take him seriously unless it was a certain kind of program. You couldn't just drop him somewhere else and go, oh yeah, well now they're gonna listen to him because it has to be proven. The way that you go about things is differently. Like Black Door mentioned, there's a chemistry with the women. People like Tara Van Devere has been at Stanford for a long time. A number of other people have done some things. So, but to see that influx of women of color doing that, and then the fact that she got it done, she did it her way, and she played her brand of basketball, and her team exemplifies that to the highest level. And it was great to see, especially with the defense, because I'm a big proponent of defense. I'm huge on, sometimes it's not have to be where shots falling all the time and, oh, they had these many points and they couldn't miss. What about when you miss it? How you handle that? How you deal with the defense? How you lock some folks down, make them look bad? Former MVP or your player of the year can only score 14 points with their head down. That's why I love Georgetown back in the day. Put it on them, baby. Put it on them. Put it on them. We'll make them, or even UNLV back in the day. Put it on them, man. Make them just crumble. You like, they be duped by 32. Yeah, bro.
You know, it's interesting because the year that I think it was last year that they didn't have the tournament, she probably would have won last year as well.
Yeah.
You sure? I mean, realistically, she had a strong team. They might have won, but it might have been 3.
Yeah. Give me another question, Black.
Woo! Tom Brady got people coming out of the woodwork, man. They want to kind of prove that, I'm not too like come back and do it. One of those persons happened to be T.O. T.O. was kind of snooping around, trying to get a team. I know Ice is gonna love this. Maybe Jerry might even, Jerry, because they traded one receiver. Jerry might pick up on it. But T.O. said that he could come back and play, and he's kind of fishing around. I want to throw that out there.
Man. Okay, and he might be able to play. I'm not saying he can't catch a ball. But if he could still play, somebody would pick him up by now. If he could be a force, same way with Dez Bryant. If he could be a force, somebody would have picked him up. And I know you want to come back to Dallas and Dallas ain't that damn desperate, bro. We get somebody else in the draft. They ain't that damn desperate. They got rid of Amari Cooper because he cost too much money and he wasn't producing. CeeDee Lamb was the best wide receiver on that team. I said that a long time ago when they first drafted him. So why would you go back to another dude that's older and wants some money and not gonna catch no passes anyway? And you think, oh boy, complained about the quarterback. Amari Cooper told me he wasn't getting the ball. What you think he gonna do? Because he always think that he's better than what he is, particularly now. The time has passed you, bro. That's the case. Let's bring back Kaepernick. Let's make it full circus. Bring Kaepernick back as the backup quarterback. Put him in the league. Jerry got that kind of power. He can make it happen. And then let's bring in T.O. They ain't gonna win anyway, so we might as well have something to talk about.
Oh no.
Saying what it is. Hey, it is what it is.
Here's what I think with T.O. What happens at some particular point, you learn from the lessons of the past and you feel like you got a handle of it now, but you want to go relive the past now. And sometimes that's just not possible. You just got to move on. And I don't think he might have learned some lessons, but he's not willing to move on. And he's trying to, you already got the Hall of Fame. Now he's trying to make a comeback. We've seen this before. We've seen this with Jim Brown. We've seen this with a lot of players who get past like 50 and start talking about how things were, and then they can make a comeback. They started working out. And I'm like, and so you get jealous. You get jealous because at the time, Jim Brown was jealous of O.J. Simpson and Walter Payton and all those. Like, I can do it better. If you could have done it better, you would have played more than 12 years. You left when you left. You wanted to make movies. That, kind of worked out, whatever. But I think T.O. is at that spot now. He feels like, I didn't get that ring. I want another chance at it. Other people getting a chance at it. Hell, Antonio Brown got a ring. Why can't I have a ring? So I think he realizes some things now, but now you realized it too late. Black?
No, I agree with that. I think it's all money for T.O., bro. T.O.'s broke, man. bro. I think T.O.'s tried some things outside of football, and they just haven't taken off. For whatever reason, they haven't taken off and kind of materialized. But I will say this, though. If there's a coach that will kind of bring him in for preseason or just bring him in just to training camp and that can bring him in and let him do what he does and kind of release him, Andy Reid, because he's coached him before. And that might be the only guy that might forgive him, in my opinion, and say, you know what, come on in here and get what's going on. I'm going to say this real quick about the Cowboys, man. I don't think that CeeDee Lamb is ready to be a number one. And I think that's going to cause problems for the Cowboys. Just my opinion. I'm not saying Amari Cooper was great as a number one, but I think CeeDee Lamb is going to realize, just like Juju Schuster realized, being number two and they're not focusing is a beautiful thing. When you come on number one and they focusing on you, it's a whole different world, bro. A whole different world when defensive coordinators stay up late at night deciding how to take you out of a game. It's a whole different ball game.
Ice, what's your next question?
So my next question is, as kids and as young men, you play sports or whatever. So what I want to do, you can choose football, basketball, whatever your favorite sport was. If you were a top-notch recruit back in your day, what school, 3 schools would you want to go to, and who you want to play for and why?
Well,
your favorite sport.
Ooh, okay. Wow, that'd be interesting. I would have definitely rolled with football. I'm gonna take Oklahoma. And the coach they had, just before he went to what's the name, he seemed like he had a way of kind of getting players up to play. Oklahoma. Wow. I'm gonna not because of the head coach, but just because to me at times when they were strong, they played very strong. They had a big following. Not now. Texas, Oklahoma, Texas, and probably here again, not because of coaching, whatever. This is probably based on more tradition. UCLA, not UCLA, USC.
Yeah. This was back in the day, like when I was, first Florida State and Bobby Bowden. I would have loved to play for Florida State, Bobby Bowden. I would have loved that. North Carolina. At the time, I think Lawrence Taylor was just coming out of North Carolina, so I would have loved to play at North Carolina, and USC. I would love to have been out in California playing at USC. Anywhere I can get on the field in USC. And there's one reason and one reason alone. If I got a chance to kick Notre Dame's ass once a year, I want to play for USC.
Yeah, I'm gonna go basketball.
Yeah.
And early on, I love the way that John Thompson played defense. It always wasn't exciting basketball-wise where they played offensively, but when Allen Iverson played at Georgetown, that was must-see TV for me because he made even the most basic system at times straight defense-oriented. He came at it, and they were fun, and they clamped down on you. They really got after it. Second for basketball would, or just somewhere in no order, probably would have been Louisville. I love them with them 6-foot guards and Denny Crum, man. They got up in you. They played D. They shot them jumpers and they dunked on you. It was just a finesse type situation. But my favorite of all time, and I'd have left yesterday. If he called me, I'd have ran out there. Jerry Tarkanian, UNLV, bro.
Oh man, he's in that series too, bro. The Lakers series too.
When Tarkanian, when he says you play defense, your reward is offense. Man, them dudes used to get up. And I used to watch UNLV back in the day when they had Reggie Theus and these 2 brothers called the Smith brothers, Tony and Robert Smith, with these big froze. They was little dudes shooting jumpers. And then, of course, they moved forward with the Stacey Augmans and Larry. Man, they used to have fun, bro. Even though they was under, suspension and, this is how bad they was after Tarkanian NCAA, that Greg Anthony had a T-shirt business, man. And he was doing his own thing. They said, if you don't give up that T-shirt business, we taking you a scholarship. Dudes, like, keep that damn scholarship. I'm making so much money. I'm making so much cash. I paid my own way. And they still won. I mean, they had a ball, bro. And that's even before the Lloyd Daniels scandal and them in the hot tub. Everybody was doing that, but they came from Tarkanian. And in the end, they even have to pay Tarkanian money when it's all said and done. I would have loved to play for Vegas. I know it was hopping, bro. I love that.
That was tall.
Yeah, man. He just seems so cool, bro. He seems so cool.
Yeah, I chose football, but if I was playing basketball, it had to be North Carolina, and that's the only school I can really think about I want to play. Last second shot, Black.
Ooh. It's interesting because I sent you guys a story, and I know we hyped about, went on with the hype about Tiger Woods, but I sent you guys a story, right, which I found real interesting about Pujols, because he basically, I think he just signed with his old team for a year or whatever. But sometimes we got to keep in mind the character of men. And I don't know, to me, I read the story and I'm like, his wife just basically had a tumor removed from her head. And the man files for divorce. Bro, I know it's separate from baseball and anything, but still, let's just be men about things that we do, the way we do things in life, our character. Let it speak for itself, man. At the end of the day, you know, we're supposed to be the strong ones, we're the leaders. They didn't lead him, my brother. Just not leading.
Yeah, you're there, Will Smith. Ice, your last second shot.
So I just wanted to say this. More than 1,000 days ago, the NCAA presented a case of allegations against Kansas basketball, which included five level one infractions and alleged 2 Adidas reps were traveling the country offering players cash to come and play for Coach Teflon Bill Self. During this magical run for a title, not a word was mentioned about the investigation. We just even discussed it on our show. And as we discussed it on our show, our resident advocate for truth and justice was adamant about Kansas being punished. But yet, for our bracket challenge, our resident advocate chose Kansas. So first, congratulations on winning, being the only one to choose the champion. Congratulations again. So I want to read a poem to you real quick. And when you hear the poem, think about the song One Shining Moment. And I want to thank Mike B. and Connie from Orlando Sentinel for putting this down.
Oh, man.
The ball is tipped, and there you are, coaching for your life and paying for Uncle Bob's car. For all those years, Gatto took the rap. He's in federal prison. How did you avoid the wiretap? In one shameful moment, your opponent is beaten. One shameful moment, you're the national champion of cheating. So all I guess is all is fair in love, war, sport, and loose booty. Funkative. Now,
I don't know how I follow that up.
That's an episode. That's not a last second shot.
We get ready to go to the fight game, but my last second shot, I highly recommend the TV series on HBO Max. If you don't have HBO Max, get it how you need to get it. But it really shows the behind the scenes about the NBA. Something Jerry Tarkanian, the Lakers are going after Jerry Tarkanian to be the head coach. And I can't give up the story on why it didn't happen. But there was a lot of things that, you know, kind of fell into place when you were thinking about 1979, Magic and Bird and all that other stuff. So I highly recommend it. And hopefully we can talk about it in the show a little bit later. But that's our show for this week. Stay tuned for the fight game. April is a big fight.
You lost, baby. You lost.
Congratulations, brother.
Welcome to the fight game. I'm Puma, that's Ice Water. And this is the month we've been waiting for as far as a lot of the premier fights that we wanted to see. And we're going to try to break them down, a few of them, because we got all month. I know on the 9th, you have the Garcia fight coming up on the 9th. You have, this is an interesting fight to me, Ice, the Erickson Lubin and Sebastian Fundora. So Erickson Lubin is 5'11", and Sebastian is 6'6". How is this? How I'm trying to figure out how Lubin is going to get in with that wingspan and that reach to fight this guy. But let's take those two fights and talk about them first.
Yeah, well, let's look at the Lubin fight. Lubin's a little dude, and he's going against a 6'6" guy. And Fundora's style is he likes to fight inside too. So imagine that. So I think the factor that he likes to fight inside, doesn't like to use his jab all the time, is going to help Lubin a little bit. Plus, too, he likes to throw wild punches. Lubin's been around, man. Lubin's been in championship fights. You know, he lost to Jermell Charlo with that devastating one punch, that one round knockout back in the day, but he's won some big fights. So I think he's going to kind of use that against Fundora. But Fundora he has a mean uppercut and he needs to be respected. So I think Lubin's going to have to take his time and really get comfortable and be patient, and then he'll probably be able to break him down. But you mentioned Ryan Garcia against Emmanuel Tagu. This is Ryan Garcia's ability to come back. He's been running his mouth, talking a lot. They're supposed to be the next king and all that other stuff. He's been working with Oscar De La Hoya as well, Golden Boy, and then also was under, the wing of actually Canelo. So with all that being said, he's doing a lot of talking. Now it's time for him to step up and show what he's capable of. They're talking about a future champion. He does have a nice skill set, but he's doing a lot of talking. So as James Brown said, talking loud and saying nothing. we need to see some action from Ryan Garcia, and this is an opportunity for him. Again, more or less like, to me, I think a tune-up to see where he can go. He needs to keep rising up because he's been telling us everything. It's either he's been hurt or he had something he did to himself. He's been depressed. It's always been something, some of it that's been self-inflicted. Now it's time for him to rise up and prove his worth, if that's what he said he wants to do.
Yeah, well, Tugo has 32 wins, 1 loss. Ryan Garcia, no losses with 21 wins. He does have 16 knockouts, Ryan Garcia, compared to Tugo, who has 15 knockouts. And both are orthodox fighters. Tugo is from Ghana, and you have Ryan Garcia, who's a California boy. And so this should be an interesting fight going into this weekend. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. What can you say about the fight between Fedor and Lubin, as far as when I'm looking at the tail of the tape, I'm looking at, of course, I mentioned the 6'6" frame of Fedor, the reach. Actually, Lubin has a 76-inch reach compared to Fedor's 73-inch reach. So he has 3 inches over the taller fighter. They're both southpaws. Lubin lost his fight, that devastating knockout that he suffered. He's 23-1. Fedor is 18-0 with 12 knockouts. Lubin has 16 knockouts. How far in the fight do you think, or how long of a fight you think this can go? Because Fedor has, even though he's kind of linky and skinny, he does have some knockout power.
Yeah. The key to this is Lubin's patience. He has to be patient. And if he's patient and waits his turn, I'm going to say, because he's been going the distance a little bit longer, but I think Fedor is going to try to knock him out. So I'm going to say it'll go 4.5, maybe 5. Ooh. And I think Lubin is going to get inside, and Fedor is going to be more wild, where he's kind of just throwing instead of being patient. And I think because Lubin's been in there with quality champions, been on that championship scale, the stage is going to help him a lot. So I think that's going to be the reason why he would actually win this fight. Because even though Fedor is undefeated, he has not been in the wars that Lubin has. And, when it's one thing to have to get off the canvas, losing to Charlo, and then have to get back to face somebody else, knowing that any moment another shot like that could take you down, that says a lot about a man's character. And that's why I think Lubin is going to figure it out.
All right, the fight the following weekend, I know I'm looking forward to see Ugas and Spence. Spence is 27-0 versus Ugas 27-4. Spence has 21 knockouts, has the reach advantage. He's a southpaw. Ugas is an orthodox fighter. What do you see in this particular fight?
Well, this this is, you know, Ugas is on his redemption tour, right? He's trying to show everybody that he's worthwhile. So he's been taken down. You know, he lost to Sean Porter. It's the fight he thought he won. Then he went and fought Manny Pacquiao after Sean Porter got hurt. So not Sean Porter, I'm sorry, after Errol Spencer got hurt. So he took that fight. He beat him. So now it's like, okay, now I want to keep it moving. And he's saying the way he went doing his redemption tour, because for a while he took a couple losses and now he's turning it around. He wants to beat Spence, and then he said he'll take either Keith Thurman on, and then he wants to fight Crawford. So he's very motivated. He's a very good fighter. And he says he does not afraid to fight anybody. But the one thing about Errol Spence is every time you want to count him out because of an accident or some type of surgery, he finds a way. And Errol Spence elevates his game, his fight game, the better the competition is. You saw what he did against Sean Porter when he dropped him in the 11th round. He just raises his game to the next level. And I think that's what's going to happen here. So I like Ugas, and Ugas beat Pacquiao, kind of spent Pacquiao. I think Pacquiao has seen better days. But as long as the detached retina, as long as it's healed and he doesn't have a problem with it, I think you're going to see, again, Spence raise his game, because that's what makes him great. I mean, people, they don't give Spence enough credit. I mean, I don't know what else you can do. Everybody wants him to fight Terrence Crawford, but he was on top before Terrence Crawford even thought about moving up. But now it's like, okay, the one thing I did find interesting is, and I think when you look at the Spence thing, he's saying that he probably only has 2 more fights at welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
He's thinking about going to 154.
Wow.
So there's a chance that even though they love each other like brothers, he get in the ring one to Charlo with Jamel Charlo. So if he only has 2 fights left at welterweight, one of them is going to be this one, and he's probably thinking the next one is going to be Crawford. So Spence already has a plan, and I don't think he wants to let Ugas stop him. So it's gonna be a hell of a fight though, because Ugas is no pushover. He's a tough guy, but Spence is the truth, as they say.
Another fight that same weekend is Chris Van Heerden versus Conor Benn. Conor Benn 20-0. Van Heerden is 26-2. You got a southpaw again going against an orthodox fighter, and both of them have pretty close knockout ratios in their fight. So what do you think about this particular fight?
Well, Conor Benn is that talent. You're supposed to be one of the next big things, right? A lot of people like him as a major prospect, guy that's been around a little bit, but they really like him to be one of the next stars. And then fighting a guy like, like fighting in Van Heerden, it's a real test, because you have a guy that's been around, he's won some quality matches and has not lost a lot. So it's against a veteran, and we'll see really how good Conor Benn is. Because for as much they want to hype him up and get him ready and whatnot, this is a major test, and there's no guarantee. So this is an opportunity to show the world that he's ready for the next level. And that's what you have to do that. But then again, you get in with a veteran. If you're not ready, you can get exposed and find out you might fall back down the ladder. So I think it's a great matchup for Ben, but it's also a great matchup for the veteran, because if he does beat Ben, then he gets his name up on the, kind of go up another ladder and go up another ring on the ladder with another possibility of the championship shot.
We'll catch you next time. He's Ice Water, I'm Puma, and this is the Fight Game.